fucking have it.
Let's be having you. Let's be having you. It was for Dealer Smith, wasn't it? Dealer Smith, Norwich City. Let's be having you. Mark my words. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Pretty Good Gaming Podcast of 2019. My name's Gareth Evans. This is Mr. Henry Cooper.
What is up?
This is our first podcast back from the Christmas break, right?
Yeah,
a
long
nice,
break.
Relaxing Christmas break. I went to Disneyland. It was fun with the family. I mean, it sounds like fun, but when you've got two kids and a wife, and you've got to drive in American traffic on the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road, in 5-lane traffic, going left and right and overtaking and undertaking on both lanes, that's not a relaxing experience. I mean,
Bummer. I'm finding it very hard to be sympathetic.
Yeah. Get your violins out, people, isn't it? So as much as I'm trying to sell it that I didn't have fun, I had a lot of fun in Disney. It is stressful, though. I mean, you wouldn't know because you don't drive, right?
No.
And
you're not selling it to me. Don't drive, don't have kids, so obviously I've got the better,
you don't understand
better end of the deal.
So who are you to have at me with your snarkiness? Who are you, Henry? Who are you? On that,
I am who I am.
On that jovial intro. So welcome to the podcast and welcome back, everybody, to a new year. I hope you all had a great, fantastic Christmas with your families and a new year and happy new year as well. You had a nice time over the new year, right? You went and partied.
I went and got very pissed and embarrassed myself in front of my girlfriend's family friends, none of whom I've met before. I became very intimately acquainted with the toilet of the place we were at. Disappeared. Well, I mean, I don't remember it, so I maintain that it may or may not have actually happened.
Is the photographic evidence?
Exactly.
Where's the proof?
Pics or it didn't happen.
Where is the proof? Is there any proof? I'm nerve surfaced. Have you checked on Facebook?
No, but I think the way I felt the morning after solidifies that I was not.
If you've got that's your rule, is it? You've got no memory of it. It may not have happened. Yeah. I mean,
what can I say?
It works as in theory, I guess. It may not have happened to you, but yeah.
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy. I'm a very good drinker and definitely don't throw up everywhere.
You definitely didn't get slammed drunk and were
it was
chewing
the
on the
first
toilet.
night, and I needed to have a little bit of Dutch courage to speak to like these 20-odd new people who I've never met before.
That's fair.
And it went a bit further than just a little bit.
Not only were we talking, you were dancing on the tables, doing the strip show, and then end up spewing.
I'm not even sure I was like functional because it went from like 0 to 60 in one fucking drink. Yeah, I was gone.
Well, you don't even know if you were standing on tables and
I might have been.
You don't even know that because you don't even remember spewing in the bog. So.
True. Well, it's because we had a keg and I could pour it myself, and I remembered working in a bar and how that was a great job pouring pints, and I was just like, this is the way all drinks should be served.
Yeah.
In that I should serve
by
them
yourself
and keep them for myself.
There's no barrier between you and the drink, essentially. There's no payment transaction required.
Nope.
There's no person to ask.
Nope.
It's just self-service.
Exactly. And by like the seventh or eighth pint, I forgot how many I was on.
That was the problem and the beauty of it.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't have given less of a shit.
Do you even remember midnight on the...
I remember New Year's Eve because this was just before New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve I was very drunk, but I was cognitive. You know, I was like had some functionality.
But so this was like a few nights.
This was
a few nights, right?
The warm up, and I got it all out of my system in one go.
Yeah, I had a really wild New Year's Eve myself. I was sat at home on the couch with my wife and 2 kids. It was wild.
Watching fireworks. Not even a real display.
On the BBC. Yeah. Well, we were fighting we were transitioning from the jet lag, which is never easy, but because we had a week, we got back on the 28th. So we thought we'd transition slowly rather than just like absolutely slam ourselves in the face for no reason. You know, we had a week off before we all have to start operating again on a normal pace. So it was the first year the girls, now 10 and 7 years old, the first year that we saw the new year in with the girls because they were all still acclimatized to that time. And it was quite nice. It was a nice family friendly It was none of the excitement that you were describing just then. But we had a good time, and I hope you guys did too. And we are going to go forth and talk about some of the experiences that we've had and seen and played in the last few days. And I must say that I haven't done much gaming over the time off.
Not over Christmas, because I travelled home back to like my mum's house. Didn't have a console with me, but I did bring my Switch, so I smashed out loads of Smash Bros. But I'd already
smashed the Smash.
Exactly. But I'd already done the campaign, so I was just showing it off to my siblings because we all played Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube together. So I brought it down. I was there. Do you remember Smash Bros? There's a new one. Let's play it. Totally fucking dominated everyone.
Well, it's your game. You brought your game to the party, and you won. And you're gloating.
But then, for some of them, I was always playing on random. So I'm like, right, I'm not going to go as someone like I'm really good at.
I'm so good, I can play any character. I'll take all comers.
That's exactly it, because I was like, all right, I'll go as my least favourite character, which is fucking, what's the guy, the Pikmin guy, Olimar.
That's the ultimate embarrassment, though. Yeah, it's the ultimate.
But I still won.
That's what I mean. I mean, you're ultimately humiliating them because you can use your shit.
Well, they did win a couple times.
You let them win?
Yeah.
Even rats allow... Right, there's a psychological study done on rats, right?
Okay.
Bear with me, right?
My siblings are rats.
Even dominant rats allow they play fight, right? Mm. And even dominant rats allow the lesser rats to win 30% of the time just to keep them interested enough to keep playing.
That makes sense.
So if it happens like that, you talk in with that, evolution, all that shit. We must have had common ancestry millions and millions and millions and millions of years ago, right? But even that trait has, survived the ages.
I gave them the advantage, they'd have the controller or a pair of Joy-Cons, and I'll just play on one, this tiny little fucking thing, which is the worst way to play. But
you gotta let those less fortunate, cognitively than ourselves, to win every once in a while. That's what we're saying.
Although
even rats know that.
Oh, even rats know. But then my sister and one of my brothers messaged me, being like, "So how much is a Switch? Do you think it's worth?" I'm like, "You're not a gamer. It's £200, and then the game. It's not worth it for you.
Probably not worth it. Yeah.
But just fucking get out my GameCube. It's somewhere in my room back home. Find that. Play Melee. Pretty much the same game, just with fewer people."
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. With the upcoming, is it this week that we see the new Super Mario Plumber Boy game, right? Super Nintendo, what's it called?
Super Mario Plumber Boy.
Super Mario's the Plumber Boy.
Is that the porn parody?
I'm here to fix your pipes.
Well, there's new Super Mario Bros. U.
That's the
has
one.
Been re-released.
Right.
Because it's originally on the Wii U, and because no one really played the Wii U.
The problem with those games is that the gameplay is almost the same. And I'd be interested in playing it if it wasn't £60 or whatever they charge for it. Just Nintendo, your pricing scheme. We love you, Nintendo. You release games in full working order, and there's barely any microtransactions or bad business practices in those terms. But fucking hell, your games are expensive.
They're well expensive, and the box is that big, and then the cartridge is eighth of the size.
All that air, you're paying for all that air in the box.
Get fucking rid of it. It's so wasteful.
The most expensive air in history, and Nintendo get away with it because it's Nintendo, right?
Packaged straight from Japan. Ooh, Japanese air. There you go.
Expensive air in Japan. It's real expensive air. So I was playing Diablo right before Christmas, before we broke up for our Christmas holidays, and I finished Diablo 3, the Diablo Eternal collection. It's a fucking long collection on the Switch, and I just literally turned my brain off from games and didn't play games from then. So the first game that I played was yesterday when we were invited to the Metro Exodus event, which was very exciting. We got invited by the PR dudes, Cock Media. It is literally Cock Media. You got to put that little bit of phlegm backing behind it. It's like Loch. Yeah, it's Cock.
For the Scottish, but it's Koch.
Yeah, it's easy. I'm Welsh. I'm used to and all over the place. It's just spitting from my mouth all the.
So it's the double L, right?
No, that's...
No, forgive me.
It's just another letter.
It's not a...
No, it's not. It's and either way, that everyone who's listening just gets showered in spit.
Taz the Tasmanian devil, just like...
Yeah, that's it. The Welshmanian devils.
Yeah.
So, Welshmanian devil. Yeah, so we got invited to the event yesterday. So we got on the train early yesterday morning and did the commute for one day, 3 hours on the train. Got off the train at Euston and took a half an hour walk by the river, right? It was...
Yeah.
What was the name of the bridge?
Well, Waterloo Bridge or something.
Waterloo Bridge.
And it was
by the London Eye.
Yeah, it was. They'd rented out like a club.
Yeah.
And it's all kitted out
under the bridge. It's like
yeah.
you see like an overpass on like a highway or something, and you've got that weird kind of angle that holds up the underpass or whatever. It was literally like that.
Yeah, just like in the wall and then like a bit underground.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but it was nice in there. Though,
it was a cool bar. Definitely somewhere that's going to be like well expensive if you're just going there to hang out.
Yeah, yeah. So we walked in there, and the whole place is decked out as if it's been an apocalypse. So obviously the premise of Metro is that there's been this nuclear apocalypse 25 to 30 years ago, and all of humanity has been hiding in these metro systems, and the place was decked out. There was like, as we play, I can't really talk about the game too much because there's an embargo till the 16th, but there was things from the game in the set, which I found was really cool. And the whole, it felt like you were kind of walking into the club, but it was like a metaphor for the game or whatever. You were walking into the game, and the whole experience.
Like in the lobby, they had some replicas of some of the in-game items, like some weapons and
that's right. Yeah, the
bits
weapons
of your
laid
inventory
out
and shit, which was really cool. Just to see the real like physical objects there.
Obviously weren't real weapons.
Yeah, obviously not like functional. Look what I got.
I hope they weren't anyway, because
we should have tested it. Hey, I wonder if this works.
Yeah. So the place was, I don't know, it was a very uniquely cool experience.
Yeah.
There's loads of, but there was like 100 units or 90 odd units. So people and press and what do they call them? Influencers were invited and stuff. So, chat to a dev here and that there, which we did. We got chatting to the QI lady. What was her name?
I can't remember what her name was. She was with the German team, but she was explaining.
Yeah, she was from
QA
Munich.
Stuff.
Yeah, she was talking, and then she said that the QA team was around like 50 or 100.
Yeah, because it started really high, and now they're down to like far fewer people because it's kind of like crunch time, everything. You don't need to bug test it as much.
She couldn't guarantee that there were no bugs in the game, but she said she'd done her best. So that's
all we can hope for.
Really friendly bunch, and it was a well-run thing, and it was a great experience to go down there. It's nice to check out these types of events. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, we can't talk about the game until we can officially we're allowed to release footage or gameplay. We've got gameplay that we took there. We're not allowed to talk about it until the embargo, which is the 16th, which is Wednesday next week. So if you're watching this as a patron, then you should be watching this on Saturday. Hopefully, if I get a chance to edit this, I'll have a chance to edit it tomorrow, which will be the Saturday which you're watching this. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll probably release this on Monday on YouTube, and therefore it'll be in a couple of days' time. So check over on the channel, the main channel, for footage and video and coverage of Metro Exodus and what we thought of it. No spoilers.
Nope.
Zip in our mouths up. You can't say a single word about it. But
there's a game called Metro
Exodus.
That's about all I can say.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that there.
Yeah, probably for the best.
So yeah, that was my first game. But since then, you've had a chance to get your hands on something else. Right?
Yeah, so as of today, I think, so the 11th of January when we're recording this, the Resident Evil 2 Remake demo is now live and, well...
Boom.
I'm not sure you could call
Available.
it alive because, there's zombies and all that.
Because of the theme of the game. But it's live and available to try. So tell us about the demo.
The crack with this
What platform is it available on? When is it running through? And who can play it? When can they play it?
I play it on PS4. It's on Xbox as well. I don't know if it's on PC. I had a look on Steam, but I couldn't see it. Maybe it's now.
It will be on PC if not, because I've definitely seen it's available on PC.
Because I had a brief look on Steam just to see if I could download it faster, but there wasn't anything on there page, but that might have changed by now. And the deal is that it's called like a one-shot demo. It's not like a traditional demo where like you get one level and you can play it over and over again.
You get one shot at the demo.
You get one go, and it's half an hour. So you have half an hour.
Not one camera angle, one chance at playing the game.
Yes. So you've got half an hour, and you get one turn, and you can like finish it. You can complete it faster than the half an hour. You can. Like I saw a live stream where someone completed it in like 20 minutes, and then it's just well done. You've done it.
You've done the demo.
Or you'll just run out the clock, it goes black, and it says the demo's over. Or
it's an interesting way to do it. I haven't heard of recently, especially a developer choosing to go this way with their demos, because it gives you that feeling of a kind of artificial feeling of time's running out, of a little bit of anxiety. It builds tension, maybe.
It definitely.
Did you feel like that when you played?
I really thought one of my biggest takeaways from this is that it was very tense, and I'm very fussy when it comes to horror. Like, I really don't like horror films because they're boring. I think they're really predictable. But then there's a handful that are really, really, really good. Same with horror games like Alien Isolation. Really like Alien Isolation. But then there's so many that I'm just like, whatever. But this. You're walking through, and you're playing as Leon in the police station.
Yes.
And you're just wandering about trying to figure out what's kind of the early hours of his experience with the outbreak and all that. And you hear weird noises, and then things jump on you, and it's the zombies, whatever. But in classic Resident Evil form, one zombie, not a problem.
Excuse me, sorry.
One zombie.
It's not you. I'm disgusted by it. You spew.
So one
got the T-virus.
T-virus, right? One zombie is not really a problem. You can deal with it. But then even if there's two, there's one point where like you're walking down a corridor and two kind of spill out from a door, and then it's a bit like, oh, okay, music's ramping up. The lighting is really good because you've got a flashlight and you can't really see anything apart from what's in this very fine circle. And I very much think that the half an hour time limit really does focus you, because there's loads of documents and shit you can pick up and read. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to bother reading it because I've got a time limit. I've got to get through it. Like, I didn't even finish the demo in the half an hour because I was just wandering around and I kept like fucking with the bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
And
what? You kept what with the bodies now, Henry?
Oh no, they're all ugly, overweight, like stereotypical police officers, with like they should be eating donuts instead of brains, they're all chubby.
Yeah.
But one thing I did really, really like about it is the zombies are like hard, sort of. I mean, you can generally shoot a zombie in the head, it's going to die. But even then, they take a few hits. You'll see like their whole fucking cheek is blown out and they'll still be coming for you. But then they'll go down seemingly dead. And sometimes if you walk over them, they'll like grab you because they're not quite done yet. But sometimes they won't. Or like there was one bit where I'm certain the game was communicating with the other enemies I'd killed, so they'd all stand up at the same time. So it's not like I did anything in particular. Yeah. Went into a room, saw a zombie, killed it, no problem. Went into another side room. There was a dead body on the floor, but it wasn't moving, and I was like, well, I could shoot it, but I want to save my bullets because it's a horror game, limited resources. Did whatever I was doing in there, came out, and then I heard a noise. And I was like, okay, that's that idiot getting up. You see the shadow, and he rumbles through the door, shooting him, and then I clock just coming into my torchlight. I was like, there's the fucking other guy, and it's just constantly back and forth trying to take him out.
Did it feel like it was a choreographed scene, or like it was manufactured in a way?
Not really. More like these kind of things are likely to happen, but they're not always going to happen in that way. They're not always going to wake up at this point.
Is that what you know? Is that what you felt?
What I feel.
Right. Okay.
So there was one. He was again a massive cop. He's a big, bulky guy. Yeah. Walking into the vending machine. It's like, it's funny because he's a bigger guy in his vending machine, whatever. So I killed it, whatever. Went down. Did something else. Came back. He's still on the floor. Doesn't matter. Go around somewhere else. Kill that one. Move along. But then they all kind of jump on me And I'm like, but that's you're from over there and you're from over there.
Yeah.
And I think they've done it in a way to like get extra jump scares.
That was one of my kind of bugbears from Resident Evil 7, is I felt like they were kind of manufacturing the scares. It's like it didn't feel natural sometimes. I've seen videos where I think is it Margaret or Marjorie, like the old lady who chases you, right? She can travel across the house quickly to somewhere else in order to generate a jump scare. You know, if you leave her at one part of the house and you leg it full speed to the other side, she can just happen to be there, and she walks slower than you. And there's that kind of logical inconsistency that really bugs me, because I'm quite a logical guy. Yeah. And when it comes to it's like, well, that doesn't make fucking sense. That's what it like rips me from the immersion.
Yeah, it's not quite like that, because there was once where I'm walking down and I walk past a window and they're like up against it, like snarling or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, they're not in yet. I'll walk along. And then as I go past, I hear a smash. I'm like, right, all right, let's take them out. Shoot them, not a problem. Mm-hmm. Walk away, go to into another room. I then come out of that room again, like open the door, and immediate like jump scare, grabs my legs. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it's because they've crawled from where they were, because I've shot them. So like they're all broken and shit. Mm-hmm. Crawl over to the door and then are attacking me again. And at that point, I'm fucking unloading into this bitch to take her out. And I thought that was really authentically curated. Like, it's obviously something that they've like deliberately put together and manipulated in a way to make that happen. But if I had properly finished her off, you know, like completely blown her head off by shooting it, that wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. The original, I don't think you played the original, did you?
Not the original Resident Evil 2.
It's the first one I played, actually, but you played 1 and
I've played 1 and 3, but not 2.
I don't know how it worked. I didn't play 1 and 3. I just played 2, and I remember it. You know, it was an awesome experience back in the time, but it was obviously very memorable for the camera angles that you were allowed to use, because it was like a CCTV camera angle, and it just kept switching as you're walking down a corridor. It switched from what looked like, you know, exactly where you'd stick a CCTV, for example. Not in all cases, but just there's very specific memories of walking down the corridor to the left as you walk into the police station, and then there's like that one that sticks to the wall and jumps out behind you or whatever. I mean, that if for me to remember that now, obviously it's had a lasting effect on me. But they have switched the camera angle for this one, and they've gone with the new engine which was used in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
So I am very interested to see and to experience how that plays out, because having the memories that I have and the love I've got for the original one, whether it does that justice, and whether it still feels like the original, or whether it just feels like Resident 7 skinned with Resident 2.
It's definitely not Resident Evil 5 or 6, because they were the very actiony. Yeah. It's that camera angle over the shoulder shooter, but it's not that first. It's horror first, and then shooting second. Yeah. And the shooting is you know, it's just third person shooter shooting it. It's good, feels satisfying.
Like 4 was, right?
Yeah. But it is creepy, and it's lots of like nothing, lots of silence or very dull sounds, and then something will fall over. And it's really loud because it's meant to make you jump, and it's deliberately done that way. But it's definitely not just another like action version of it. It's kind of what in Resident Evil 6, you've got like 3 campaigns. Leon's campaign was supposed to be like the horror-y one and go back to its roots. It was better than the others, but it still wasn't that. And this is what that should have been, because it's the same like camera thing, but just way tighter, much better engine. The RE engine looks amazing.
Yes,
it's like graphically, it's stunning. But it's what Resident Evil has kind of sort of been pretending it was for years. Like with 5 and 6, I think there's another one in there as well. There's like the crappy multiplayer one, Operation Raccoon City or something.
Yeah.
This is what it should have been.
It feels like it's like they're perfecting the formula and they're getting it right this time in terms of balance between action and horror.
This is the one that ideally should have come after 4.
Yeah.
In this style of gameplay. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, obviously you're quite keen to play again.
Yeah, I definitely recommend
it. Get the. I mean, the demo's free. I mean, you can't go wrong, can you?
Exactly.
What was the size of the download? You know,
I want to say about 7 gig.
You played on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, on PlayStation.
7 gig. It wasn't too bad for us, but we've recently got a
Decent
fibre.
internet, yeah.
So it took half an hour, I guess.
About
Like that.
Well, I'm all about demos. Not enough companies do them anymore. But Capcom seem to still be doing them, because they did one for Devil May Cry, and I'm begrudging that because they've only put it on Xbox, and it was a timed demo, so it was only available for a certain time, and then there's a new one coming out in February, and I'm like, just why? But that's by the by. So they got one for Devil May Cry, got one for Resident Evil 2 now, and I'm pretty sure they had one for Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
When that was coming out. So they're one of the only people who is still kind of going for demos, which I'm happy about, because I love demos.
And the game's out in 2 weeks' time from today, which is Friday, obviously. A little bit less than that when you're listening to this. So the demo runs through
till the 31st,
which is 3 weeks, right? So you've literally got 3 weeks to try it out.
So if you're on the fence about it, because it's a remake, or you're not necessarily a fan of the franchise or whatever, definitely download the demo.
It gives you a good taste.
Give it a go. Yeah.
Gives you a good taste.
And because it's only half an hour, and that's all you get, it's that one shot. That's like the moment. If you don't like that, one section, it's probably not for you. But I really did like it, so I'm probably going to get this one.
There you go. Henry approves. I'm going to try it out too. Obviously, because I've got the memories and experience of playing playing it around the first time, and from what I remember, like getting deep into that game, and then I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but how it all concludes and stuff. It's a very satisfying story from what I remember, and it's a very the gameplay itself at the time was great, and I'm interested to see how they've implemented that, because one of my criticisms about Resident Evil 7, I mean, a lot of people like that game, and each to their own. The first-person thing I thought was cool, because there's not enough first-person games. However, I'm not sure it works so well when they try and lock you into these little... It didn't feel free. It felt like it was forcing you to play the game a certain way. Like when I had there was one fight versus Jack. And he's got this chainsaw at the time, and he's running after you. And
in the garage.
Yeah, his meat hanging down off hooks, and
that fight sucks.
That fight is the worst, man, and that's what I really pulled my hair out. And I'm going bald as it is, and it's not great. You know what I mean? I don't play games to get frustrated by them. I really don't. Not at my age, man. It's gonna fucking take its toll.
That's my problem with fucking games like the FromSoft games. I'm like, there's a hell of a lot of challenge, but I can't be arsed with just fucking around with it.
Yeah, and I think the main thing that gets me is when you shoot an enemy or damage an enemy, there's an animation sequence that it has to go through before you're allowed to damage it again. You can't just fire 5 bullets into its head, or like let's say Jack for example, right? Can't fire 5 bullets into his head and it gives you 5 bullets worth of damage. You shoot him once, he recoils. He shakes his head, gets back into his normal stance, and then you're allowed to damage him again, and that really, really pisses me off.
From what I gather in this one, that doesn't seem to be the case, at least with an ordinary bog standard zombies, because you shoot them in the face, and you can just keep going, and bits come off, and before long, there's just a forehead of nothing else. I
hope that is the case, because that will really mean the difference between me enjoying the action part of the game and not enjoying the action part of the game. Obviously, the story and everything else aside, however else it unfolds. I think that.
I hope this one does really well, because I've played 1 and 3. I'd love to have this kind of a remake with either of those, or ideally both. And we don't want remakes everywhere you look. But those two games are iconic, especially the first one.
Yeah.
Because it reinvents horror and all that crap.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really, really cool if they could do that game this way, like this and this level of justice and all that.
Well, maybe this is just the experiment. They're trying it, and they thought they could make the most out of number 2, and maybe will go for.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting.
They've put a lot of effort into this, right? It's not just something that they've just
they really
botched together. It's a full remake. It's not any, they've had to remake it from the ground up.
They've really treated it like a completely new game, and I kind of think of it as when you adapt a book into a film or something. So the Resident Evil 2, the original, is the core. and then they've remade it into this new interpretation, because it's not just a remake, it's not just graphical upgrades. They've changed certain things and taken certain liberties, but to make a better experience and a fresher experience overall.
So there's no way you can say that this game is a cash grab, and you could, and then that equation all comes into how much the game's worth, how much you're willing to pay for it, and this and that. If it was just an upgrade from the original, with the however it looks so much different from the original. And if you've never played the original, it's definitely going to be worth a new game price.
Yeah.
Whereas a remake or just an upgrade type of game, type of production, it feels dirty to try and sell that for $60.
Yes, when you get it, it's like blah 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 HD remaster. It's like, well, it's not really. You've just upscaled it a little bit to put on the new generation. But this is not that. It's
not that, and I'm definitely interested to see how it pans out.
10 out of 10 would bang.
10 out of 10 would bang. Would bang corpses. Fucking with corpses. Henry, 2019, one of the first.
It's all about Leon with his dreamy, boy band hair.
I think you've gone far enough already.
Good hair.
Okay, that was our Resi 2 discussion. We both have watched Bandersnatch and we want to talk about it. Yes. Although this is not a computer game, a video game. We're going to talk about Bandersnatch because we both like Black Mirror. We both played it. We both watched it.
It's weird.
And we want to talk about it.
it.
However, disclaimer time. If you have not watched Bandersnatch and you are intending to watch it, the rest of this podcast will contain huge spoilers, and you definitely should not watch it. You should go and watch Bandersnatch and then come back and listen to or watch the rest of this podcast, because you're just not going to be happy with yourself, because this is the type of experience, the type of film that you should go and do yourself.
Yeah, you need to discover it on your own.
You can't hear. Excuse me, I want to take my jacket off because it's getting a bit warm in here. We can't do it justice by explaining what this experience is or was to us. So you have to experience it for yourself, or you will never have that first experience of it. It's one of those experiences where the first experience will always be the best. You'll never have another great experience with it in the same way. So there's our advice to you guys. If you are interested to go and watch Bandersnatch, which I highly recommend, by the way, and I think you might do
absolutely.
too.
Even if it's not the kind of thing you'll enjoy, it's just such an interesting experience. And it's a new way of looking at things and a new form of media that's been done before, but not in this way and not quite so cleverly, without trying to get into too much detail.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched Bandersnatch already and you're still listening or watching this podcast, it's on your own head. You're gonna miss out. So
you have been warned.
You have been warned. Let's talk about Bandersnatch. So I watched this. I mean, it came out of nowhere, right? 28th, 27th, just as I got back from Disney. There's a new Netflix Black Mirror special. I was like, Bandersnatch, that sounds interesting. Then I heard that it was a choose your own adventure type film, which sounded a bit weird. And I was like, well, I like Black Mirror, but I'm not sure I like this idea. Netflix have done it in the past. They've done it with Minecraft Story Mode. They've also done it with some Puss in Boots thing. They're experimented on kids, essentially. My kids have played both of them. My 7-year-old it's just something else for her, and that's weird to think that she's just accepted that as another method of entertaining herself until it's regular. It's baseline for her now, and it's not anything new, and it's not anything fresh for her, because it's just like something that she saw when she was young. But yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect, but having jumped into it, the experience I had, we got back from Florida, and the wife and I watched it together one evening. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and we were like, we'll just watch this, and it's supposed to be an hour and a half experience. 3 hours later, we were finishing up. We were wiping our boots. We wrung that dry. We wrung that baby dry to try and get as much as we could out of it, because we were both really super into it.
And Netflix keep revealing new endings or something. They keep saying, okay, this is how you get to this.
Oh, did they?
I think they've done it a couple of times. It keeps coming up on my YouTube things, like Netflix have revealed another secret ending. I'm like, I mean, that could be just a clickbait thing, and I'm not clicking on it because I want to discover it for myself.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. I found that there was one clickbait type of headline that read, "Not even the producers of Bandersnatch know how to see all the endings," or something stupid to that effect. It's like, all right, I know you want to get your click. I'm not fucking clicking. I know better than that. But the whole premise is based around the character. What's his name? Stefan.
Not Stephen. He makes a point that he's not Stephen.
Not Stephen. I'm Stefan. And this guy is a coder, and he's writing a game.
It's set in the 80s.
Set in the 80s. That is important. That's an important fact. Set in a game. He's creating a game based on a book called Bandersnatch, which is an old school choose your own adventure type book.
Yeah, it's a big, thick, heavy book with all these different paths.
Yeah, I think people. Did you ever have a choose your own adventure book when you were small?
Yeah,
my cousin used to have one.
But they were real small, and it was literally you're in a castle. Do you go up the stairs or do you go down to the dungeon? Okay, turn to page 7.
Yeah,
or whatever, and then you carry on.
Yeah. That's what I remember from. So the whole lore of this film or whatever, it just kind of integrates really well with the story of this game. So Bandersnatch itself is a choose your own adventure book, and this game or film, I keep calling it a game, but it's an actual film, right? This Bandersnatch film from Netflix is a choose your own adventure film.
Yes.
So Stefan's making this game, and then you're faced with really easy, simple decisions to begin with. What to have for breakfast, what music to listen to on the bus. And it seems like this whole fucking thing is going to be bullshit, because who cares what you have for breakfast? And like, the only consequence of choosing Frosties over Sugar Puffs is that if you choose Sugar Puffs, your shit's going to smell like honey in a couple of days. I mean, there's not a lot of consequence, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm weird.
So
where's the Cheerios, man? That's the one.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
84, man. It was 84, 86. I mean,
yeah, but you're like a proper grown up, so you probably have the healthy ones like fucking Weetabix or whatever.
I don't know. No. I have the. We're talking about what I have for breakfast now. I have
a banana.
Like the no, it's like the crunchy cornflake thing, the crunchy nut cornflakes. You know, the really crunchy nutty cornflake things.
Crunchy nut.
Yeah, the crunchy nut cornflakes. Yeah. The crunchy nut ones. They're nice, Sam. I like them. Or Frosties. I just have Frosties. So obviously I chose Frosties when it came up.
I chose Sugar Puffs.
Well, you know, that shows the difference between me and you there.
The monster is cooler than Tony the fucking Tiger. Do out.
The monster doesn't make you feel great.
Yeah, but a tiger does with those claws. Jesus.
Okay, so that, it sets you up like that, and you start thinking these choices don't mean much. And my wife was getting really fucking annoyed. She was like, well, what's the fucking point? It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is her mantra, right? She always says this, like, what's the fucking point? What's the fucking point? If she gets annoyed by anything or frustrated, what's the fucking point? It's so funny.
I'm with her, man.
It's so funny, right, to watch her like start getting wound up about this. And I was like, just give it some time.
Yeah,
it'll start unfolding, and this will be all explained, or the reason why you're going through these menial decisions now will probably play into the story and how it works.
Yeah, because it is a bit of a slow start. You get a few like nothing decisions, and then it speeds up, and then it gets faster and faster, more intense, and more complicated with all the ideas they're trying to throw at you and concepts and whatnot.
Yeah,
but the first few are a bit like, oh, who cares?
Before you know it, and I think the one that got her to f-bomb the largest, the loudest, was the first kind of major decision where you choose to go with the studio because you get offered the job with the studio to develop your game in studio versus develop your game at home. And if you choose to develop your game in the studio, which apparently that's what Stefan wants, so I was like, yeah, well, that's what Stefan wants. Let's choose this choice, make this choice. Cut to the ending where you only get 1-star review for your game because it's shit, and that goofy guy's on TV.
Because there's this little fucking
that
wanker,
nerdy little bastard who we all hate.
Oh, well, the graphics are good, but he seems to stop caring halfway through development. It's like, oh, eat a dick, you little prick.
Eat a dick, you little prick.
He's the real villain. If there's an antagonist, it's him.
He is.
Tosser.
So, after him, that little shit digging the knife in, that Karen was like, What's the fucking point? It wanted you to choose this direction. It wanted you to choose this, and you chose wrong, so it's giving you the choice again. There's no fucking point. There's no consequence. She didn't say it like that, but there's no point. What's the consequence? There's no consequence. And I was like, hang on a minute. Bear with it. This is just the film teaching you the mechanics.
This is how you play a thing like this.
Yeah, and also teaching you some of the consequences that could happen before you get to the big decisions, which will affect what ending you get. There are multiple endings in this, and when you get into it, you will go forward and you will make your decisions based on everything that you've learned up to this point.
Yes.
And if you haven't analysed it and seen what the consequences of your actions are, and go into these decisions with a logical mind based on the experience you've had up to now, then you're going to make the wrong choice.
And it's a bit of a Groundhog Day in that respect, because you make your decisions and they stack up, and then you get to an ending, and then you go back.
Yes,
you can then make this pivotal decision again, or go back to like the last one you made or something.
Yeah,
and especially for a couple of the decisions in particular, he remembers having made the previous decision, but obviously he hasn't, because it's really interesting.
So some of the paths will unlock some part of the story, or you'll learn something going down one of the paths, but you'll have to reset. That's part of how it works. But going forward on a further branch, you will get a decision based on something that you've learned on a branch that expired.
Yes,
essentially.
Because you have to play it again. You can't play it once, because you can, but you'll have a shit time.
Yeah.
You're meant to go back and do things differently.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that, I mean, there's the couple of early decisions that kind of illustrate this. If you're at the psychiatrist lady's scene, the very first one, where she asks you to talk about your mother, and she says, do you want to really talk about what happened with your mother, because your mother died, or whatever? And you can just choose to say no, and then you won't explain to her what happened with your mother. So you as your player, as the watcher, as the decision maker of the film, won't learn what happened, and therefore you won't get the option to choose the mother ending later on down the line.
Yeah, that whole path is now
blocked off because you've said no. Actually, you have to say no twice, because if you say no once, she says, "Are you sure? Because you really might discover something about your past." And she says
you'll learn some new information.
She's kind of saying that to you rather than to Stefan, and it's really cool like that.
And all of those nods to the player, they are so important, because it's not just regular breaking the fourth wall or regular meta, because in things like Deadpool, he breaks the fourth wall, he acknowledges you're there, and it's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But in this, you are essentially a character, because there's points where Stefan, he feels like he's losing control, and that's because we are in control.
Yeah.
We are this character, call it God if you want. We are God in his
omnipotent
world.
Character,
yeah. And there's bits where one of my favourite scenes is a massive spoiler for one of like the coolest bits.
It's too late now. Spoil it.
He's like shouting out to anything that will listen, like, give me a sign that you're real, and like what I'm thinking is right. And then your options come up. You have an option to choose this symbol, which is in the lore, and it's part of the book that he's reading.
It denotes choice, right?
Yeah, and it's all about branching choices and the alternate realities that then stem from that. Or you can just choose the word Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's like in the font and everything. And because it's in the 80s, Netflix isn't a thing.
Yeah.
You like start communicating on his computer, like in The Matrix when Trinity's talking to Neo at the beginning. The text just comes up on the computer on its own, and he's like, what's Netflix? Like, what is this?
Yeah. I think that is a great moment. I think that was my favourite moment, where my brain kind of took a bit of a twist. I was like, wow, they're actually doing this. Because I wasn't sure how far they'd take it, but they took it all the way back to include you in the story. Like, you are part of this story, whether you like it or not. You can't just be a passive observer of this. And I think this is why it kind of breaks ground for me. A lot of people criticize Bandersnatch. I know you've got your own criticisms. However, you might not have experienced it the way other people have. Just acknowledge that you might have just missed something, or you just didn't have the same connection. However, I got the connection, right?
Yes.
And I had a great experience with it. And this is the moment that it all teed up for me. Because that moment, you realize that you are playing you in this story. You are sitting here in the future, future for Stefan, and you can communicate to Stefan, who is the character, exactly what the reality of your situation is right now. And I thought that was like completely just an amazing concept that I could do that.
Yeah, not in Choose Your Own Adventure stories, you're either you, like in an RPG, you create your character and then it's your experience, or you're an assigned character, a named person with backstory and everything. In this, you're neither of those. The person you're controlling isn't you, or like he's his own character, but you are also in as this entity that is controlling
omnipotent
exactly
power. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, you're God in a way.
We are.
Like you are. Yeah. You're not just a casual observer, or you're not just playing Stefan. You are a person independent from Stefan, and you're controlling him, and he's aware of it.
Yeah,
and that's where the theme of power is like, and that's where what he's kind of trying to struggle with this whole time. And it's great. It is great because you could, if you choose the Netflix ending, right? Obviously, it opens up that branch of path, and your story. You've created this story now, and this is Stefan's story that you are like. You are cracking the whip on, and you are steering like you're steering a stagecoach or something, right? You've chosen the Netflix ending, and you're going down, and they allow you to go all in on this, right? And so your next scene, you're in the fucking a psychiatrist again, and she goes, "If this was a real," it's not the next scene, but it's somewhere down the line. Down the line, if this was a real, and somebody really is watching you and making decisions for you, and they're watching it for their own entertainment, wouldn't it be a little bit more entertaining or exciting? There'd be a little more action. And she looks at you, and then you've got the choice.
So it looks at like us,
yes or fuck yes, and then you go into the old action scene and you get
it's like choreographed of martial arts.
Oh man, that moment,
well cool.
It's like whoosh, that's awesome.
But then also, so there's that pivotal decision of the Netflix or the symbol. Once you've done one, you then reset, and you can do that thing again, and whichever one you picked is gone and is replaced with something else.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to get to on my like next playthrough, my current one. So I did the symbol, then did Netflix, and then it brought me back, and I had another one, which I haven't done yet. I think it said PAX.
PAX.
Because that's part of the extended lore and concepts of the thing.
Yeah. There was another ending with your mother, because obviously your mother died in a train accident when you were young, and you can choose for Stefan's story to be that it's an all conspiracy where your dad's like conducting an experiment on
like the Truman Show. Yeah,
the Truman Show kind of thing, where your whole reality isn't that in fact real. It's all manufactured for some sort of psychological study or whatever your dad's playing on you, and he hid your teddy all along in order to make your mum late to get the wrong train or whatever. But there's one bit where you can choose to go through a mirror depending on your knowledge and your decisions that you made, and you can choose to end it with your mum on the train in the past.
Yeah, because you're supposed to take the train ride with her, but you don't because you're looking for the teddy.
Yeah.
But if you never had the teddy taken away, or you go and get it and put it back, you then don't have to delay. You go with her,
which is very butterfly effect, right? And that's something that we both discussed that we both liked. The film that we both liked was the butterfly effect, because he can go back in time and he can relive certain very key moments of his life, and then he sees his future kind of
he tries to do it to fix things, but inevitably something is wrong.
If it fucks something else up, and then he takes it all the way back to trying to fix everything in his life. Just means that he's got to, spoilers, kill himself in the womb, which is the director's cut version of it. I don't know. It wasn't in the cinema. The cinema version was, the final ending was, he was walking in the street, and instead of being friends, he went back to when he was like 10, and he kind of broke friends with the girl that he's trying to get with. So he meets her as a random stranger in the street in the Hollywood ending, if you like. And they bump into each other, and it's like, oh, don't you? And then they both turn away and walk away, because he knows that if they get together, something bad's going to go wrong. So that was the Hollywood ending, but I prefer the director's cut ending, which was he jumps back into the womb and just strangles himself, and then ends it. It's horrible, but it's poetic.
And like earlier on in the movie, you learn that, because he goes and speaks to his mom about like his powers, or like needs some closure with that sort of thing, and then she tells him that he actually had 3 brothers, but they were all stillborn as well.
Such a good
because
story,
they've all
man.
got it.
Director's cut. Fuck you,
Loads of
Hollywood.
people hate that movie, but I think it's well
That's
cool.
great. That's
such a good
I
movie.
forgot that detail, man.
Yeah.
That is a perfect detail. That's reminded me how much I loved it, because it's that whole thing ties in, right?
Yeah.
And fuck Hollywood for trying to make us feel good. Fuck Hollywood for ruining stories.
It's not really like a clean movie for the rest of it. Like there's a part where he
He's an amputee.
Yeah,
at one
because he
point,
tries
and
to
he wakes
stop
up
this-
without, and he's like, and he's got no
and
arms
he tries to
shit.
kill himself then in it's horrible. It's not like a pleasant movie. Really good though, like interesting
It's class.
sci-fi, sci-fi, weird time travel thriller. Really good.
I love
Recommend.
it. I love it. And there's parts of the original Life is Strange that was echoed in Butterfly Effect. I don't know if you played
No,
the
I've not
original
played
Life is Strange. But that's one of the reasons why I liked Life is Strange, because you could like rewind time or whatever. So let's talk about this other scene where you can choose to follow Simon, is it?
Colin
Simon. I mean, it's almost the same, right? It's the same. Whoever's Colin's got Simon as the middle name, and right, whoever's called Simon's got Colin. Isn't that the rule? No? Okay.
Let's say that. I have a beer bong named Colin. That's about it.
Your beer bong called Colin, your regular bong's called Simon, right?
Oh, I wish.
That was a joke. We don't
Good,
condone,
clean fun.
we don't
around
condone drugs here. And although there was a comment on today's video saying that you look stoned.
here. Me?
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably are stoned, or you probably look stoned.
Well, both. At the beginning of that video, I am trying to keep like the James Bond eyebrow going the whole time. Just
This is the video from today.
Yeah.
We should explain for the viewers. It's the
oh yeah, we recorded the goofy news one about
News spoof.
Bungie,
newscaster spoof intro with like 6 jokes in a row.
which were all quality
Horrible jokes. So the one scene where you follow Colin and he explains it to you, like, and this is where I think my wife started getting it. Where I was saying to her, listen to what he's saying, because Colin explains to him, like you're like Pac-Man, right? It doesn't matter if you die.
Yeah.
It matters about the story, and it matters about there's a deeper story and deeper meaning to it all.
Yeah, because when you die, you just respawn and do it again. And if you try and get out, you go out the side of the level, you come straight back in the next side. Which is part of the reason I think this like genre or concept or whatever is perfect for this kind of choose your own adventure thing, because it's a game about games, and it can then use like metaphors and tropes of gaming in sophisticated and interesting ways, because they use the word pack as like an acronym for this big conspiracy thing about how you're not really in control of your own life.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting, because Pac-Man, he's a small little yellow
Caricature,
sprite who eats little white balls. But in this thing, it's so complicated and deep.
Yeah. And there was another ending. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't really want to spoil it, I guess. We're fucking talking about spoilers. Fuck it. Where Colin's got a daughter in the scene, right, with his missus. He's got like a really young child.
Yes.
He's talking about, right? In one of the endings, where you die, I think it's the best ending, or like what's
good
seen as the
ending.
good ending, right? Where you get, I think, because there's, a horrible... You follow the same path as the author from the Bandersnatch.
Yeah, because he
film.
starts going insane.
Yeah, so there's a parallel there, and it's all to do with the choices and that diagram or whatever, and it's the diagram ending, I think, where you end up killing yourself, or you going to jail or whatever, but your game does really well. You follow...
Yeah.
Your game gets 5 out of 5, but you've had to pay the price yourself because you've gone crazy and or whatever. But then, or something like that, I can't remember correctly, but the game gets like shelved then, and in the future, Colin's daughter is like she's researching the game in order to make her own new version.
Right, okay. I definitely haven't got this ending, but that's really cool.
It's really cool, right? And so she's making an internet style version of it, right? So she's got these like... She's got the flow chart, all these diagrams, and she's like moving around on a computer. And there's just a flicker of like she's going to follow the same path as, and it's like it's all kind of all going to transpire again exactly the same way. And I fucking love that, to think that the story started, because there's another story that we haven't seen, which was the guy who wrote the book, right? The author of the book. So maybe he wasn't the origin of it, and maybe he was inspired by something else. But this kind of cascading of inspiration that's followed through the book, the game, and like the internet series or whatever. I think she's literally writing the Netflix series for it, and that's I think that's what it is. That's what the story is anyway. But I like that. There's just so many interesting stories within one story, and eventualities, and I think that's why I like it so much.
I think if you like Black Mirror already, and the way it goes about things, it's not as Black Mirror as some other things, because it's not like a weird dystopian future or anything like that. But if you like the black comedy and weird social commentary of Black Mirror, you will really like this. And it's not as connected as some of the other ones, because normally in the mainline series there's little Easter eggs to suggest that they're all connected. In this one, to my knowledge, there's not really anything other than the symbol itself.
Easter eggs. There is.
But like overtly
to connect the I mean there's a few. I've seen a few, right? There's the dog on the poster, right, from that episode with the dog, robotic dogs. There's that on the poster of one of the games.
Oh, okay.
So that's a throwback. And there's a couple of throwbacks to the feature length one at the end of the last season, where what was it?
I've not seen season 4, so that might be why some of it's lost on me.
Right, yeah, that's it. Season 4. There's a couple of throwbacks to season 4, which is the most recent one. You should watch it, man. They're awesome.
I do. That's the thing. Like,
USS Callister.
I'm always like, oh yeah, let's watch Black Mirror, and then I'm like, it's fucking 10 o'clock at night. I haven't got the fucking like mental headspace for this right now.
Yeah. But just kind of sum it up, I really did appreciate the experience. I did enjoy it. Although, like, obviously some people, I think it's a lot of the gaming media didn't rate it very highly, because I don't think the journalists kind of got where it was trying to be, whether it's trying to be a game or a movie. And I mean, it's reflected in the Metascore on Metacritic, 61%, 6.9 on the user score, and however the IMDb is 7.5 out of 10. So I think that maybe some people didn't get it or what it was aiming for, or it didn't connect with them, and that's fine. And I think that sometimes when you're creating something, especially something new like this, it's not going to be gotten by everybody, and everyone's not going to appreciate it. And to actually divide your viewer base is probably good, because what you'll get is some people just not giving a fuck, and another group of people who really love it for the reasons why you made it, and for what it is. And I think that's the only way that you get this type of cult following for games and stuff like this, if you do divide opinion.
And I think even if you don't like it, that's fine. But I think anyone who has any interest in gaming and kind of interesting films, like unique original filmmaking that's never, if you want to see something new, watch this. And like I keep telling my girlfriend to watch it, like I'll watch it with you because I want to see like how your path unfolds and everything. I don't think she'll necessarily enjoy it or like get it, because she doesn't really like Black Mirror, but she's just
not a sci-fi person or whatever.
Yeah, she just thinks it's a bit like, it's really clever, but I can't really be arsed with it.
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm very much encouraging her, like, watch it anyway, because it's a unique experience to be had. It's like when you try a new hobby, you try new things. And I think this is a new thing that people should try.
I love the fact that it exists, and I love the fact that it's like Charlie Brooker's taken a risk here, a kind of a risk, I guess. He's successful enough. He's not risking his career or anything like that, but he's risking his reputation.
Yeah, so like an artistic risk.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it exists, because it's pushing new boundaries, and it's a kind of convergence of two mediums. Yeah, at least two mediums, because you think it's a book. Like, it could be a book, it could be a game, and it could be a movie at the same time.
One thing that I liked about it compared to other choice-based games like Telltale games or say Until Dawn is because it's a movie, you don't have any of the walking.
Yeah.
It's just all right, walk,
quick
interact,
time events as well.
Done. Yeah, it's just the choices. Choice after choice, which is what I want. I can't be asked just walking somewhere to interact with something and speak to someone.
They have said that they're not making another Black Mirror, like multiple choice movie.
Yeah, which I think is good.
One and done. I think apparently they had to delay the latest season of Black Mirror to get this one finished because it ran over, and they had to make sure that it was right because if you don't put the time and effort to get a project like this right, it's going to be easy to pull apart, right?
And I think I'm so glad that Netflix have pushed this because it's always like near the front of their recently added stuff. They seem to be very confident in it, in such an interesting experiment. So I feel like they've given the creators like Charlie Brooker and his teams everything they need to make this the way they want it.
Yeah.
And that just speaks volumes for their confidence in the product.
No, I think so. I think Charlie Brooker's done amazing work on Netflix in the past, and I think that obviously they've got a lot of faith in him, allowing him free reign to do this. I don't know, it worked really well for me. It didn't for many others, but it has to be experienced firsthand, and you have to get what he's going for. It's about power and choice and all these themes about sanity as well. There's so many themes running through this, and it is what you want it to be. You can have an ending and just leave it, or you can go back and investigate it. I'm the kind of guy who just wants to know as much as I can about the whole thing. Yeah, I want to
get everything.
So it's both a thumbs up from us, right? Definitely a thumbs up from us.
Absolutely.
So those is our thoughts. Let us know what you think, obviously, down in the comments, and that kind of brings to conclusion the first podcast of the year. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we will be back. I'm guessing next week.
Yeah.
If they're lucky, if
you make the right choices.
Bang on theme. Awesome. A bit tired now. It's the end of a Friday. It's the end of a long week. It's the start of what's going to be a long year. I was kind of trying to tie that into the end of everything, but it turned out to be the start of this year, so that didn't work. But anyway, I will see you next time, and I'm sure Henry will see you next time. Do you want to say goodbye? No. Fuck you. Fuck the lot of you is what I'm trying to say. Get the fuck out of it.
Bandersnatch and get depressed because my reality isn't real.
Yeah, let's all do that. And we will see you again next week, guys. Until then, bye for now.